William Campbell, somebody who really ought to be watching out. He's the FBI informant of Uranium One of them. The Democrats have put gag orders in. The Justice Department that is totally rogue against the president's put gag orders in, trying to keep him from testifying to Congress. Can you imagine what he knows? It's incredible. That is coming up in the next segment. But I wanted to play this clip because, again, it's par for the course. MSNBC guest, Republicans are domestic terrorists. How do you pronounce this guy's name? Fernand Amandi. If he hates America so much, why didn't he just move to the Middle East? Oh, no. He's going to come here and make us live the way he wants us to. He's going to join in a race-based, culture-based Democratic Party that's anti-Christian, anti-America, and actually create what he claims he's fighting. These people don't play by the rules, folks. They want to assault the American system. They know what they're doing. During a segment, this is on Infowars.com, on Saturday's broadcast, MSNBC AM Joy, the liberal network, allowed a Democratic pollster to call for his political enemies to be arrested and put in prison for failing to adhere to the variety of left-wing viewpoints. Well, hey, bro, go to Venezuela where they're eating their own dogs, or I guess they already ate those. I mean, go there where you can arrest everybody and live out your big fantasy world where you're the big tough guy. See, our forebears knew about dirtbags like you. It's why we have a Second Amendment if you try to come put us in your little forced labor camp where limp willies like you dream of. Guess what? History outpaced you. Your dreams of global communism and global socialism are over, dirtbag. You failed. But here you are on the failed network, sputtering and spewing like a colon, bleeding, filthy lies. Here it is.
What has the Republican Party in the last 10 years done to help the American people? What have they done? This is not a political party. This is a domestic...
Back it up. You've been in power, turd bag. What has Venezuela done for the people? What has Cuba done? What has China done? Where they have top generals that are billionaires and slave factories. I mean, if you talked about Apple and slave factories and suicide nets, and if you talked about Islam cutting women's genitals off, and then you wanted to bitch about the Republican blue blood scum, I'd listen to you. But you sit here in this free society bitching all day. You have no credibility. You don't have the moral high ground, snot nose. And they sit up there with all these anachronisms and all these fossils. I don't mean because they're old. I mean, they're all sit up there all pissed, like, we're upset. We have moral high ground. This country sucks. Screw America. We all got our own TV shows, damn it. It's so racist. And they just harp and harp and harp, trying to sabotage their listeners and viewers. Here, let's go ahead and play this guy.
What has the Republican Party in the last 10 years done to help the American people? What have they done? This is not a political party. This is a domestic terror group. And what I think the American people should consider when they ask themselves that question with a party that has done nothing to help the American people is to vote them out and consider possibly afterwards locking them up, Joy.
So, Democrat pollster calls for locking conservatives up. Calls for mass arrest of conservatives. I mean, that's what you just heard. Democrat pollster, MSNBC, calling for arresting Republicans. Well, that's what they want. They want to claim Russians stole the election, kick out all the Republicans that got elected, have new fake elections like Venezuela, they have a new permanent state, and they've said, shut down the independent press and arrest their opposition. It'll be like Venezuela, though. You don't work, so you'll starve to death, you little bastard. Fernand Amandi, a Democratic Party pollster, let it slip yesterday on MSNBC of what he really thinks of the American people and what he thinks of conservatives who are roughly about 45% of the population. Got about 35% that call themselves liberal, another 15, 20% that won't say who they are, but a large portion, close to half, consider themselves conservative, and it is in countries that are more free market or what you call conservative. I call that quite liberal in a modern sense, very Renaissance, very Enlightenment-based. He says it's time to vote them out, and then, once they're back in power, arrest us. Now, what did the weathermen back in the 70s get caught in federal court doing? That their plan to bring in a collapsed economy, have an emergency reorganization, take control of the military, and then arrest 50 million people. And they said 25 million would have to be killed. And everywhere you hear the left say, we want violent revolutions, we want violent overthrows. They had a failed attack November 4th that they had planned to go out and kill cops and overthrow things. There were some shootings, there were some stabbings, there were some attacks, but it was a dud. But when you hear the MSNBC guest hosts say Republicans are domestic terrorists, it's time to arrest them. Remember, Antifa, funded by George Soros, is calling for the overthrow of the government and violence. They're calling for all this. They've been listed as terrorists by the feds and the multiple states because they've done it. They wear masks. They attack people. But this guy, he shows up and he says, arrest people. Once we get the power, we want to end the political system and not let there be debate. We know you want to ban words. We know you want to ban the family. We know you're a power cult. And we know you hate the producers. And that's God's logic. Because people like this in Venezuela and in North Korea and everywhere else, once they get full control, everybody starves to death because they won't produce. They just march around bitching all day and complaining in the freest, most open country in the world. Not that mean we're perfect, but to look at this type of seditious garbage, these people are authoritarian cancer. They tried cop killing nationwide with their whole leftist Black Lives Matter movement. Hundreds of cops got killed. To have the strong cities come in with the Loretta Lynch to intimidate local government, to have the UN take over policy of local police departments turning cops into SJWs, and they said, and we'll stop having our people kill you. It took the police from being kind of establishment to being anti-New World Order. You idiots think the cops on average are cowards like you, and that killing a bunch of them or shooting a bunch of them are intimidating them, saying, give in to us or we'll kill you, and we'll indict you, and we'll arrest you, and we'll set you up. You thought the intimidation worked. All it did was fully convert the police out of being somewhat awake to totally awake. Does that mean there's bad apples? Absolutely. Does that mean cops are perfect? No. The point is they're local, they're diverse, they're different. They're not globalist. They still have American values. And now they know who you are, scum. So let's play this guy who openly says that he wants to politically take over and then arrest everybody, just like they've said. Overthrow the election, have Mueller say it's fraud, say all Republicans elected were Russian influence, have a new election, Homeland Security before Obama left, already federalized elections, that's in place. Then have new elections, a one-party system. They have a plan. It's been in Atlantic Monthly, and it's been in Salon, and it's been in all the establishment tripe publications where they communicate openly. I tell you what they're writing, and then other MSM says it's insane, it's not happening, trying to keep you in the dark. It's up to you. You've been warned. The good news is we're starting to rout them, so they're getting more desperate and more open about what they want to do. He wants to arrest every Republican, every conservative, and get you in a dungeon. And he's in a black uniform, and he comes in there, and he's in charge, and finally he gets to be a man because you're chained up against the wall. It's what he says. He goes, I want you in prison. I want to have my way with you. This is a flaming authoritarian dirtbag. Let me give you news, scumbag. You'll never crush our spirit. You'll never defeat us. This isn't the poor Russians you dominated, or it isn't the poor Cubans. This is America. And you may have turned half the public into zombies, but you didn't get us all, boy. So here he is.
What has the Republican Party in the last 10 years done to help the American people? What have they done? This is not a political party. This is a domestic terror group. And what I think the American people should consider when they ask themselves that question with a party that has done nothing to help the American people is to vote them out and consider possibly afterwards locking them up, Joy.
So there you go. Arrest them. I mean, I should compile all the clips where they say, arrest us for our views. They have a law that if you don't say G or Z or whatever the weird word is for a transsexual or whatever the new term is I'm supposed to use, that you get arrested. This is about, you use the word mother and father, you're arrested. We're a cult. That if you want to trigger them, bake a pie. You want to trigger them, have a family. You want to trigger them, love God. You want to trigger them, work hard. You want to trigger them, be good. They are a collection of spoiled, rotten, narcissistic people who literally want to dominate alphas. They don't understand. Alphas just want to build us a civilization. These false alphas want to pull it all down. They are cancer.